Hello, my name is Joe Powell. As I'm sure you know, I'm the Chief Executive of All Wales People First. This is one of my quarterly video messages to the membership of All Wales People First, as we pledged in our Mirror strategy for 2019 to 2023. And that's essentially our business plan. And I said that I would update members on key things that are going on in the organisation. Obviously, there are lots of things going on in the organisation at any one time. So I do like to just pick one or two key things that you might be interested in. I think the first thing I need to speak to you about is the advocacy strategy, funded by the Welsh Government and delivered by the Associated Directors of Social Services. They want All Wales People First to be a key partner in that work. So I'm really pleased we can do that. And that's following representations we've made on behalf of groups and members at the Learning Disability Ministerial Advisory Group, and also a letter of support by the co-chairs of the Learning Disability Ministerial Advisory Group, Humi Webb, and of course fabulous self-advocate Sophie Hinksman. So we are trying to follow up on that work to try to look at what maybe some of the barriers and the blockades are, and the challenges for all forms of advocacy across Wales. I see advocacy and self-advocacy very much working together. They're both very important, and we need to make sure we safeguard that. People with learning disabilities will always need to either self-advocate or have support from somebody to speak up for themselves and the issues that affect their lives. So I've had what we call a desktop review meeting with the ADSS. That means we look together at all the information that's been published already to see what learning there is. But obviously the main emphasis of this work is that we go out to the public and the members or the stakeholders and actually start to speak to people and interview people about, you know, what good advocacy, self-advocacy should be, how it should look, what are the barriers in the way, what kind of things can we recommend that need to change to safeguard advocacy. So it's a very, very important piece of work, and it's something that I've had to make one of my main priorities. And secondly, just to say, thanks to those who attended the National Council recently in March. Unfortunately, day two, it was snowing, so we had to abandon the meeting. It just wasn't safe. It wasn't worth risking those travelling a distance. Every hour counted, so we cancelled the meeting on day two. But thank you for your attendance. It was lovely to meet in person again. It was the first time in a while we've all been together, because obviously, you know, last time was December, and you know, during Christmas and everything, we've all been doing our own thing. But at that second meeting, we were supposed to look at the new All Wales People First Mirror strategy. That's the business plan, which we're hoping to get ready for the 1st of April 2024. So it's really important, obviously, that the National Council review the current business plan and also decide what they want All Wales People First to do in the next business plan. So we're getting ready for a new business plan. The times have changed really, really incredibly since we wrote the last mirror strategy, the last business plan. Kind of already, as soon as COVID struck, what I believe was a really forward and innovative looking business plan just seemed to become out of date very quickly. And I think we did really well delivering on what we did given the circumstances, but we did have to rethink a lot of the ways we did certain things. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's the end of COVID or such things, and we can just move forward in public and do the outward facing work again without any of those obstructions. So but what we did also talk about at the National Council, which is part of the business planning process, is to review the term learning disability. And we did an evaluation in 2017, and we pledged we would do this during every business plan, every time we plan and write a new business plan. It was a great conversation, some brilliant points made by members and some great debates. But we talked about the social model of disability, the idea that learning disability is not a social model term and the reasons why, That's not to say we shouldn't use it. It's up to members. One of the suggestions made was learning difference as a social model alternative, and I think that got a lot of interest, and a lot of people thought that was very interesting. But ultimately, our members decided again to go with the term people with learning disabilities. So that is the language All Wales People First will continue to use during the next 4 years until the next business plan, when we will ask the members again, is it the right language? And I think it's always right we keep doing that. As a member-led organisation, it's right that we always keep asking members, is the language right? What do you want? What do you want the term to be? And I know a lot of people will think, well, why can't I just be John or Mary or Philip? Why do I have to have a label? Fortunately, labels, if we're going to claim benefits or we're going to identify ourselves to get the support we need, unfortunately, there has to be some kind of label. In my case, it's Asperger's syndrome or autism spectrum disorder or condition as it is now. For other people, it's going to be something else. But I personally think labels are all right, as long as they're used when they're needed and when they're needed only. If you go to the pub for a drink, for instance, your label shouldn't be a thing. You should just be John or Mary, blah, blah, blah. But if you want to access a service, then of course you've got to identify why you need that service, and therefore a label should not be a problem as long as people still respect the individual at the heart of their needs. And I'm going to end this message by just saying big respect and hello, and thank you to all of our self-advocates with Down syndrome. It was Down Syndrome Awareness Day a couple of days ago. We have members with Down syndrome who are fabulous self-advocates. They're our friends, and we're delighted to have them as part of the movement. And society, I think, is better off for their input too. So we need to make sure people with Down syndrome, as well as everybody with learning disabilities, continue to be included and respected as active citizens in Welsh society. Obviously, that's the ongoing ambition for People First in Wales. Thank you for your time. Victory for self-advocacy.